Dun, 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 dun. Kilted
Kilted balls.
balls.
Oh, you threw me off that time.
Oh yeah, went back to the old one.
I felt like Lars Ulrich there, like drumming all out of whack.
That's what makes Lars awesome, though, right?
That's true.
Like those weird rhythms, they
Mhm.
helped because he was probably high.
He's like, "What do you mean the
Drunk.
drummer's supposed to keep the beat?"
He's like, it's creative differences, man.
Mhm.
Well, hey, welcome back to the Kilted Balls podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We have so much news, I think
Oh
we have
my
lots of news.
gosh, crazy
So
news.
much news. So why don't you start with the super cray cray if you want? I don't know
Sure,
how
I
much.
can start with that.
Yeah.
We've all been talking about what we're doing for the future and some of our plans and everything. And for me, my plan is to start, and I talked about starting to sell some of my NFTs. So I have the Ethereum for the what I'm expecting to be the blow off top, and to be kind of in that position to be able to cash out into a stable coin before things come crashing back down. So one of those is, and it was I guess through the couple months, I've gone back and forth on what I'm doing with my ape, my Bored Ape Yacht Club. But I think after the NFT NYC, and that the mutants got the same access as the actual apes, then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna sell my ape. I'll buy back in during the winter. Possibly, if there's never a winter, then I won't. So I had it listed all last week, and the day that it sold, I actually saw that Jimmy Fallon had bought an ape, and I've
Yes.
never heard of him. He's got 50 million followers and a fairly popular TV show.
Seems like seems like a popular guy, an influencer.
Influencer, yes. So, I mean, since then, I did sell mine, and I was super happy with what I got for it. I'm totally fine with it. Although, if I would have waited 2 more days, apes have gone up over 10 ETH, or about 10 ETH since I sold mine. I guess besides Jimmy Fallon, there's a musician. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's Post Malone.
I saw Post Malone got in too, and I'm like, man, you got out at the same time Jimmy Fallon and Post Malone got in.
So I mean,
So
there's room for all sorts of celebrity in there. I'm giving everyone else a chance
it
to
is
kind of.
probably because you listed it, right? Like Jimmy Fallon probably bought your ape. No,
He did not. Someone I did. I do follow the guy who bought my ape. I made some comments on Twitter to hopefully he's in a good home and everything. But no, I mean, I'm super happy.
did you send him a hat?
I did. And I DM'd him. I sent it in Twitter. I said, DM me. I have a hat for you. You know, the hat that he wears, but I haven't seen anything. But that's all right. So yeah, that was exciting for me, and then exciting just for the community. I think it's awesome. I mean, they're back up, over 40 ETH per ape, which is super awesome.
That's super cool. That makes me happy. I don't think it's gonna last. I think we're seeing a pretty big, not downward trend in NFTs, but we're seeing a stable dollar trend in NFTs.
Yes,
Right.
because ETH has come down. We're down to what, 45 last I saw.
Yeah. So I think the dollars are staying about the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ETH prices that are kind of fluctuating on that.
Although the dollars did go up. There was our friend ended up selling his, and he got almost 50 more than I did.
Yes.
So
no, but
super
I'm just
exciting.
saying that's just a bubble because the celebs jumped in.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like anything else did the same bubble. It was just one, couple big time influencers, and so it bumped.
Well, the mutants are going up, and the kennel club's going up, but
yeah,
I wouldn't.
Well, because they all go together. They're all the same thing.
You're
Which
exactly
is
right.
what, and that was kind of the point. And our buddy Jason talked about this with V friends as well. Like, why hold the rarest V friend if they're all getting the same access and their value isn't that much higher than the core, right?
Mm-hmm.
So does the rarity actually make that big of a difference? And I think those are legitimate questions. And when you see an event go on like NYCNFT and the apes stay the same, mutant or not, then it's like, yeah, I got a mutant, I got the access.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so why change? And I think that's legitimate, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So,
I mean, even, if ETH just doubles, I'm in a position to where, I can put something in a stable coin and getting 8% of that. That covers all my expenses and some awesome vacations
yes,
in my mind. Not to mention other things that I would have to do, like any responsibilities or anything. So for
right.
me, I'm super happy with that. I'm thinking about the future, and I mean, don't get me wrong, the future could be $1 million ape, and that's different. And we've talked about that, but
Yes.
I'm thinking in the now to 5-year plan, not the 5-year beyond. I have my
Right.
friends for 5 years and beyond.
Yes. No, but I agree. I think that's reasonable. Though even the V friends, I think a 5-year and beyond for V friends, maybe, right? Like,
Well, I think that's beyond 5-10 years. That's where the rarities are going to start to matter. Right now, you're exactly right. There's no
right.
difference if you have, I mean, there's a slight money difference between very rare and a core, but it's not a huge difference.
Right. Right. Well, and so here's the thing here's what's hard, right? So,
Mhm.
like when you talked ages ago, when you were first introducing me to V friends, right? So how about that? Does
Okay.
that sound good?
Yeah.
When you first introduced me to V friends, you were like, this is going to be like Gary V's Thundercats,
Hmm.
right? And you're like, it's going to be like that. Like it won't be Disney, but it's going to be like Gary V's Thundercats. And don't you want to own a piece of that?
Yeah. I said it was at least going to be a Thundercats.
Right, at least.
Yes.
But I'm just taking Thundercats for the gist.
Yep.
Well, what's an original Thundercat going for right now? $2,000?
Yeah, you're probably right.
Right? Like maybe they're going for an original Thundercat picture, lithograph, comic, poster. I mean, we could eBay it, but I'm guessing maybe $2,000. And so if these are Gary V's Thundercats, they worth $2,000. Like they're kind of big, right? And so that's my thing overall, is that I don't disagree that just like Stoner Cats, I think they may take off and they're like this pinnacle of things. And I think people are right on when they say, oh my gosh, these are going to be a piece of history and we can own a piece of history. What people are forgetting is that lots and lots and lots of pieces of history are expensive at $1,000 to $10,000.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Well, did you hear the
expensive for
news
1 to
today
10.
about Stoner Cats? That happened.
Yes, I did. I
That's awesome.
did hear that.
Go
I
ahead.
watched the release. It was Gary V is gonna be one of the voice actors. So yeah,
That's
I
pretty
thought
awesome.
that announcement was great. But that's kind of my thing. Is like when people are talking about, like our friend Jason always talks about curio cards, and he's like, these are historic, and I don't disagree with that. But when people talk about buying things that are historic, they're normally in like, it feels to me like in the $1,000 to $10,000 range. And that's expensive for a normal human to go say, yeah, I bought this original book for $1,000 to $10,000.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
now,
I can
if
see
you're
what
buying an original Bible,
that's different. I guess I can see what you're saying. I guess what just popped into my head is, say, like a Michael Jordan rookie card.
Sure.
But I mean, I don't know the prices right now, but I guess a PSA 9, which is not perfect condition, is going to go for 100,000.
Okay,
I'm guessing, but I don't know how many of those there are compared to the limited number of even Stoner Cats.
Well, what was the limited number of Stoner Cats?
There was 12,000, right?
So right, that's my thing. Like, so there was 12,000 Stoner Cats, which is a lot of Stoner Cats compared to the Michael Jordan rookie cards. So
I don't know. I think there was a ton of Michael Jordan. Okay, go ahead.
on eBay, 12,500 for a 1986 Fleer 57 Michael Jordan PSA 8.
Yeah, it drops a ton from 8 to 9.
Yeah, PSA 10 is going for 500,000, but it doesn't look like it's sold for 500,000. It just looks like it's listed,
Yeah.
right? There's a 9192 that's being sold for 54.9. Oh wait, here's another PSA 10 618. Again, I don't know
Yeah.
if they're moving, but yeah. So maybe these are more like that. But how many of those? Again, how many of those rookie cards exist?
Yeah, you can on PSA, it'll tell you on PSA. I'm trying to look really fast while we're
Oh
talking.
yeah.
Where
Sorry.
it'll say, I mean, and there's different grading companies. I'm just going with PSA because they've been around the longest.
Right.
They are considered the number one.
And so that's the most expensive one, right?
Yep. So it is a lot lower. So we're saying the population is 2,800 of the mint nines, and the most recent price is 22,000.
2,800 of the mint nines, and it's
Yep.
22,000.
Yep.
So you're talking, just to put this in perspective to people, we're talking about a rookie Michael Jordan card that
Mhm.
in mint edition is going for 22,000, which is 5 Ethereum,
Mhm.
which I think is exactly my point.
That is
Like
exactly your point.
Right? You can't look at a curio card and be like, oh my gosh, these were like some of the first ones. They're the rookie cards. They're going to go for so much. No, there's thousands and thousands of those, and all of those thousands are in mint. And
Mhm.
a mint card is going for 5. It's not going
Mhm.
for 40.
Yeah.
It's going for 5. And you've got everybody thinking they're the rookie card, right?
Yeah.
When we
I
all
think
know that cryptos are the rookie cards.
yeah. I think the excitement is in the future, this is a whole different thing. It's a whole different kind of
Yes.
flex, all of that, where it's going to matter more. Where like I was just having a talk with Tristan. He was going through some of his old cards. He was excited. He was looking at some of the prices. And I was like, hey Tristan, can you look up the Larry Bird rookie card? And I don't know if you're familiar with the card, but the Larry Bird rookie, it was 1/3 of a card.
Yes.
And it came up as a ripped off. And I was like, oh, put in Magic Johnson too. So he put it in, and there's two of them. There's Bird, Johnson, and some other third guy. Or you can get the Bird, Johnson, and Julius Erving, all where both of the first two are rookies, and then the scoring leader.
Yeah.
So that's the one I have. It's rated a PSA 9. And on his little website or his app that he was looking at, it was $30,000.
Right.
And I'm super excited to have that. It was something that I
Where did you
always
get that
wanted.
from?
I bought that back in March for 8.
Okay. Nice.
Before I
don't
really
think I knew
started
about
buying
that.
before I really started buying the NFTs and stuff.
Yeah. And now it's
So
worth 30.
yeah. But
which is
that kind of
6
return
or
is
7 Ethereum.
Mhm.
And I think that's my point, that these things are great, but like, what is the actual worth long term? And specifically what we're talking about right now, people, in case our circle got too crazy and weird, was we were talking about Kilted's 11 V friends, right? So the ones he said he's holding 5-10 years.
9.
And my argument is that in 5 to 10 years, when those become immensely popular, Gary Vee has comic books and cartoons and the whole He-Man shebang, that they're still only going to be worth $30,000
Maybe.
plus times inflation, whatever
Yes.
that is, times inflation. That's their max. And why do I say that? Because right now, if you can sell it for 10, you're going to get 50,000.
Mhm.
So you're going to lose money by diamond handing those.
Possibly.
Is the point. You
Yeah.
know? And maybe that doesn't matter, right? Like, that's one of the things we talk about. It might not matter,
Mhm.
right? Because it's not necessarily about that, right? Like we've talked about before, I don't look at the pictures in my house or the other things that I keep and think, Oh my gosh, is that appreciating the value? I don't care. I didn't buy
Mm-hmm.
it for that to appreciate in value. I didn't even care in the slightest. I bought
Yeah.
it because I loved it and it touched me. Right.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure Gary Vee has touched you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he has. Still waiting.
Still waiting. Gary Vee, if you're listening, Kilted needs a touch.
And happy
Speaking of
birthday,
Gary
Gary.
Vee,
Yeah.
it is Gary Vee's birthday. And I hope you saw that tweet. I tagged you in it, Kilted.
Mm-hmm. I
Gary
did.
Vee did a giveaway today. And here's what I like about this. So a lot of people doubt Gary Vee. And I would say I am not like 100% Kool-Aid drinking Gary Vee guy. I like Gary Vee. I like what he's done. I like his stuff, right? But if Gary Vee told me tomorrow to go buy something, I would probably do my research first,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not going to just automatically buy it because Gary Vee says to buy it. So I'm not 100% drinking his Kool-Aid. I'm listening, but I think he's a good guy. And today's giveaway really illustrate. I made Amy listen to him giving away that thing, and I think she was in tears
Mm-hmm.
listening to
I
that.
saw
So
that original tweet when it came through, like
yes.
the person's original tweet.
Oh, okay. I was like looking at everybody's tweets and like giving them likes and stuff and doing that. I didn't see his.
Yeah,
Then
I
Gary
saw
Vee
that
gave it
one.
to him,
I was like,
and
I read part of it. I was just like,
I didn't read it at all. I just went. So Gary like did his announcement. I'm listening to Gary's announcement, and Gary's like just doing it. And I'm like, cool. And I'm like laughing when the guy didn't know about VCon. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you gave this away. The guy doesn't know about VCon. And I'm like giggling to myself. And then like Gary, you could hear Gary choking up, you know, trying to like end the call because he's choking up. And I'm like, see, Gary V is real.
mm-hmm.
Like he is real, real, real. And I'm like, that's what the power of Gary Vee. Not only does he do something cool like this, which here's the thing, and this is what I think like the people on the V Friends don't get, is super, super cool that Gary gave that away.
Mm-hmm.
It's also important to know that cost Gary Vee nothing.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Right. So Gary's giving it away, but it's not like when you gave somebody a gift code,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or when you gave
Yeah.
somebody, or when you traded somebody a bat. Like
Yep.
those are huge amounts you were giving away. You knew at the time, you didn't know they were as big as they were. That hadn't
Nope.
happened yet,
Nope.
right? But you knew they were at least $3,000 that you were giving away,
Mm-hmm.
right? You knew the gift goal was 40 because I remember at the time going, that's a $40,000 gift, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you knew that Gary Vee's giving that away and it's costing zero.
Mm-hmm.
But the worth to the other person is huge. Is huge.
Lifelong fan.
Lifelong fan. Right. Well, lifelong fan, like changing that guy, like that guy stopped working and you just gave him a year's salary.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it didn't cost Gary. I think it didn't hurt Gary to give that, but the value is really, really big. And I just think that's important to note. But that being said, Gary went through it very thoughtful, he didn't look at somebody like me, like, listen, I want this flex, right? Like,
yeah,
give me a V friend so I can flex out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was like, this person really needs this. This is really meaningful. Didn't care that the guy had no clue about V friends.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's the epitome of what Gary is trying to tell people. And that part I do buy in wholeheartedly. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on that. I'm super excited for the book. I've not read any of Gary's books. I've heard this book is a total deviation from his other books and so much more powerful.
Nice.
So we'll see it. And it sounds like it's right up my alley. So I'm really excited about it.
You can read each one before you give it away.
I will probably lick each one before I give it away. It comes with my DNA. With my DNA added, right?
That is awesome.
So that was cool. Taco Bell was in town this weekend.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so she went and she took actually my daughter. She was in town for a photo shoot, and she asked if my daughter wanted to shadow along because my daughter has expressed interest in photography and had an awesome time with my daughter, and she seemed to have an awesome time. And then kind of to I wouldn't say to, I was about to say like to reward her, like that's not the right thing, but I took her out to dinner with Cal. So Cal and
Okay.
I took her out to dinner afterwards. You know, I'm like, she's in town, like she's not going out to eat anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the power was out here. So Cal and I were like at home alone. I'm like, Cal, let's go take Taco Bell out to eat. And he hasn't really stopped talking about her. It's like even today, he's like, man, I want to see her again. And Amy's like, you two with your girlfriend, and we're just like
Mhm.
laughing.
That's
So
hilarious.
he enjoyed her too. So that was a good time. So it was nice. I heard some of her new ideas, and I was like, we got to get you back on so
That's
we can
cool.
hear some of your ideas. But it's funny because she sounds a lot like me, where she has like 1,001 ideas
Mm,
and doesn't act on any of that. Like it's whatever the flavor of the month is. Cause I was like, yeah, Cora kind of has this like flavor of the month thing. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm
yeah,
the same way. It's the ADHD. Like it's,
that's
you
so
just jump. And
funny.
I'm like, oh, well, I go, that could explain why I have 1,000 ideas and I just give them away all the time.
Yeah,
So
that's so awesome. Actually, do you care if we circle back around to the ape real quick and
yeah,
talk about a little bit more of my next steps from my
yes.
entrepreneurial
Oh my
past?
gosh, I
Because
would love to hear
we
this.
haven't talked about that at all.
Oh yes,
Because
yes.
there's, I guess, anyone who's listened in the past that I have a sheep business has been much of my life, 15 years building from basically nothing. And my former business partner and I, and she moved along, and I have the sheets still. And the my last shipment that came in, because of all the craziness that's going on out there, my shipping
Hmm.
was 5 times what it normally was. And I can't remember if I've talked about this or not on here. And if you hadn't heard it, my shipping went up 5 times what it normally is. So that was a huge hit as
Huge
far
hit right
as
off the top.
the price on each one. Yep. And I didn't
Yeah,
change any of my prices. I'm keeping all my prices the same. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna go through with this, and because I could, thankfully.
right.
So I don't need to order more. I like to have a ton of product. I have a warehouse full of stuff, and especially since COVID, it's not as moving as fast, just because there aren't as many events.
Right.
And I go to order more product, and I'm informed from the factory that my material cost is going up 30%.
So your shipping went up 5x, and now your material cost is now going up 30 times
30%.
30. So yeah, so a
But
third.
still,
It's going
yeah,
up
a third. And then they can't even quote me on because normally the price that they give me
30. Hmm.
is including shipping. So they're taking the shipping out, and that price is going up 30%. So no shipping and plus 30%. Then they're going to add the shipping onto the end. So I'm in a position where I don't have to buy anything. And
Right.
as of right now, I'm not planning on it. Like, I
Did you
don't,
tell them that, yeah, I'm probably going to not order right away?
yeah, I told them, I said, well, I got COVID, which we had talked about on here. So I've missing 2 very big events.
Yep.
So with missing those events, I'm going to have a ton of product, especially compared to my website sales
Right.
and my online sales. So, that's fine. It's usually, I mean, those in the past have been just a great, great Christmas money,
Yeah.
and just, the events are much better than online. But yeah, I told them, I was like, well, I got COVID, I'm missing 2 events, and I'm not gonna I'm gonna see what I'm gonna need to order in April. Like, I'll reach back out in April. And she
Right.
said, well, the price is probably going to be the same. Your price is still going to be up 30%, and then we'll see what happens with the shipping. The shipping should come down. So, I mean, if I don't do any events at all, I mean, really, I have at least 5 years worth of product in there, unless something crazy happens online or anything.
Right. Right.
So
Unless something balloons. And if it balloons that fast, well, then it all of a sudden becomes worth
yeah,
it to raise your prices and
yeah.
go
So it's just
30%.
kind of which goes back to one of the reasons why I listed my ape. because I still have that money coming in, but it was just like, okay, well, if I can turn this into Ethereum and have it while Ethereum's going up, I'd rather have it than just having my Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yes. No, I
So,
think that's a smart decision.
mhm.
Especially when that's doing it. It's interesting. I told my in-laws today, I was like, oh my gosh, Kilted sold his ape. And they're like, we don't know what that means.
Mhm.
Right. And I'm like, well, you might, I was thinking they were around when we first got the apes, and
Mhm.
I didn't, but then I remember they weren't because she was like in treatment and stuff.
Yeah, because I was up there right after I got it.
Yes, right, exactly. Because I was looking at buying one, right? So the
Mhm.
big dumb thing for me is I looked at buying one and I was like, I'm not going to spend $2,000 on this JPEG.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was my stupid
That's
ass.
smart.
Yeah, I bought cats instead. Bought my
Mhm.
lucky manakees. So we'll see who wins in the long run. You've got yours checked in right now. We'll see what mine
I
does.
know. Wait, I
Hmm.
still have my lucky manakees too.
Yeah, but I don't. So anyway, we'll look at that. But anyway, so I was telling them, and they're like, yeah, and they're like, that's cool that he sold it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And Amy's like, it doesn't make sense to anybody. And I said something like, he really just wanted that into like the crypto. And Amy's like, oh yeah, and we're doing some stuff. We had to build a fire today. It's snowing today.
Mhm.
And so we were talking about how the house was at like 66.
Mhm.
So my heater in the basement, he's big into electrical. So he's like, what are you doing? And so I was kind of talking about that. He's like, I don't understand that. He goes, it's just, all I know is it's really, really risky. And I like looked at him and I'm like, what risky? I'm like,
I can picture Chuck saying that after that conversation.
he's like,
Just
it's like, I go risky, like selling the ape, but I'm like, okay, wait, I go risky. Like, he goes, well, you put it in your bank account and you got it there. I go, that it lost 6.5% there. And
Mhm.
he goes, well, no, he goes, it's only making like 0.1%. I'm like, no, it lost 6.5. He's like, oh yeah, because of inflation it lost. I'm like, so Amy's like, yeah, she goes, ours doubled. Or she goes, he told me he would double it in a month. She goes, and it only went up 50%. We're
Mhm.
like, what? I'm like, yeah, super risky. It went
Mhm.
up 50%. I go, and I said it was going to double. So I go, I'm the idiot for saying it was going to double. I go, but meanwhile, your money in your bank account lost 6%. And this was a conversation. So, friends of the podcast, before we started the podcast, one of the driving factors of this, we had already decided that this might be cool, right? But
Mhm.
we are sitting at a campfire with a whole bunch of friends and loved ones and families, and they're asking us questions about NFTs and crypto, tons of questions. And so we were trying to answer them, and they're like, yeah, this stuff is just, it's not real. The dollar is so much more important. And
Mhm.
I was getting like a little fired up. Kilted knows that, but I was like,
Mhm.
you think the dollar is awesome? They're like, it is. It's backed by all this. I'm like, the dollar is not real.
And
Like
this is
the
July.
crypto is,
This
this
was
is
July
July.
when we were talking about this.
Yes. I'm like, the
Mhm.
crypto is more real than the dollar. And they're like, what? No, it's not. No, it's not. And now all of this stuff is coming out where the dollar is losing value like crazy. Your
Mhm.
sheets are going to cost 30% more for the material alone, which means if you did buy them, your sheet prices have to go up 30%. And that's the reality across America right now. All the prices are
Mhm.
going up. That's the definition of inflation, meaning all your dollars are going down.
Yeah, I would not be able to wholesale any of my sheets for what I currently wholesale them for
No,
without
no.
like, and I don't even make 30% on them, but with the price going up, like I can't charge the prices that I charge.
Right.
And that's
And
part
so
of,
which was the safer deal? The
Mhm.
dollar, the stable coin, the dollar,
Yeah,
or the Bitcoin, or the
which is
Ethereum,
which
or
is
the
why I can make the
Doge,
decisions. Yeah.
right? The Doge was a joke. The Shiba was almost a joke. And yet you are safer putting your money into Shiba than you are putting it into the dollar right now.
Yeah.
And people go, well, no, no, no. It could all go away. Yeah, so could your dollar.
Mm-hmm.
No, no, no. It's guaranteed. Is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it really, people? So anyway, not financial advice, but I'm just saying people are so entrenched in their religion of the dollar
Mm-hmm.
that they don't understand other things might be better.
Yeah.
Right? And
We're
these might
living
be
through
them.
that right now. We're living. I mean, I was surprised when our friend said he bought Solana. Like
Yes.
his wife had given him permission. I don't know what they talked. We don't even know how much he put in, but he said he
No.
bought some Solana.
Yes.
And it's gone very well for him, more than any investment that he's ever done in his whole life.
More than any he has ever done.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we told him that back in July that
Yeah.
was the safe bet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I still remember this is, so friends, this is Kilted at the campfire. You would be better off draining your retirement and putting it in crypto right now and then putting it back in a year. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy talk. And he's like, it'll be well worth it. If you drained everything, put it in crypto, you'll get it back in. How about right now, 6 months
I'm
later?
living. I took, I mean, and we talk about and if everything would have gone to zero, I still would have been fine. I would have been sad,
Yes.
but I would have been fine, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
But I went all in. I didn't do it all at first.
Right.
But I mean, I'm all in.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, we've come a long way, like my family, like Amy and I yesterday were talking. Is it better to continue our business venture that Kilted and I have going right now? Or would it be better to put it in straight up Bitcoin right now? Never in our conversation was, is it better to leave it in a money market getting 0.1%?
I go back and forth on that too.
Right. But you're not thinking, do I keep it in the bank? And all of these people are thinking, I think it's better in a bank. You are losing money if you are putting your money in a bank right now. You're losing money. It's going down, and it's going down fast. And when inflation is at 6.5%, people, it's a really important thing to realize that's their definition of inflation, which changes every so often to make it seem not that bad. So they take out goods from their inflation calculation so the public doesn't panic. If you put in all of the goods that were in inflation in the 1920s, people, you would be sickened at how little your dollar can buy right now. Mm-hmm. Sickened. And here's my favorite one. I was saying this the other day. I took the girls and the kids out to get a donut at Dunkin' Donuts, right? Mm-hmm. Big treat. I got myself a bottle of Kraken and got everybody donuts.
Nice.
And here's the crazy part. Here's the crazy part to me. The Kraken is the same price that I've ever bought big bottles of liquor for. Since in college, same price.
Yeah. And Kraken's a more premium, so it's a little bit higher.
It was $30.
Yep.
And which is the same price I bought my bottles for forever. Right?
I mean, a Captain Morgan is less, or if you're getting some crappy rum.
What is wrong?
I'm just saying.
That's like saying, oh, why did you go? You can go buy Absolute for 20. Yep. And I could have in college bought it for 22, but I'm not buying Absolute.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
But the big thing is we bought donuts.
Mm-hmm.
The donut was $1.79 each donut. I'm like, and now I didn't care. I bought my donuts, but I'm sitting there thinking, when you used to work at Meijer, how much was your donut?
I would buy 3 donuts for $1.
You'd buy 3 donuts for $1. I remember always getting them for like 35 or 40 cents. So in that same time period, donuts shot through the roof.
Mm-hmm. Just donuts.
Just donuts.
Nothing else. It's not like you can get 12 ounces of bacon now for $8.
Right, but that's kind of my point.
It's like, not even a pound.
No, it's not even a pound. Things are going, like, some of those things are just going batshit crazy, right? Mm-hmm. And people are thinking that their dollars are still, like, seriously, at the campfire, people, they were arguing with us. They're like, no, the dollar is stable. I'm like, you can't. This was 6 months ago. I said, you can't buy what you used to buy for $1. I go, you're going to go to a fair tomorrow. I go, you're going to go to a fair tomorrow and you're going to spend $7 on an elephant ear. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, that's normal. I'm like, it's not normal. I'm like, 7 years ago, it was $4 for an elephant ear. And they're like, well, yeah, but it's concessions. I'm like, it went up. Like, it almost doubled in price in 7 years.
Yeah.
I go, and that's not included in your inflation calculation, but your dollar isn't buying as much as it did 7 years ago. It's like stupid amounts different.
Yeah.
But you think the dollar is stable. It's only stable because you say it's stable, not because it really is stable.
Yeah. That's
So
the pill. I don't remember what color it is, but that's the one pill that you can have.
that's the pill. That's the pill, right? And they're looking at the crypto, and we're dealing with this right now with Ethereum and NFTs, right? The
Mhm,
NFT market we just talked about is sticking with the dollar right now, and it
mhm.
stopped sticking with the Ethereum, which is why good time to, not financial advice, get out of your NFTs and let that money rise in your Ethereum if you can get out, right?
Yeah.
Like, so
I
I can't sell my nails. If I sell my nails, I'm not going to be able to get back in,
no. And
right?
nails is a whole different thing, which is one reason why we love them.
Right, a whole different ball. The V friend is a different ball game, right?
Mhm.
Like, if you didn't have those 11 V friends, I wouldn't be selling my bat. Right?
9.
That,
Oh,
oh,
wait,
sorry,
10.
9. That gives me a feeling of safety because I know I've still got a ticket into VCon,
You do still
even
have
if
a
I
ticket to
screw up.
VCon.
So I'm like, if I screw up and I can't get back in, I'm still safe.
Yeah.
But if like I didn't have that, I would probably not ever sell the bat until after the first VCon,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I
I'd
mean,
want to make sure.
we had an episode after the last run up, and I have to listen back, but I'm pretty sure I turned down an offer for 50 ETH for my ape. But
Yeah,
ETH was a lot lower then. It was basically the same dollar amount.
I was just gonna say, I think
But
it was the same
but I
dollar
got
amount.
18 less ETH for it when I sold it this week than I
Right.
did then.
And if you had sold it then for 50 ETH, your ETH would be so much more now.
Yes.
Right. And so that was the problem. That's the trick with that and paying attention to that. So yeah, so super interesting. People, we've already taken a
Yes.
long time. So thank you all for joining us. Kilted, congratulations on selling the ape. I think that's
Thank you.
freaking huge news. And we're doing lots of cool stuff, my entrepreneurial friends. So the ape is just the beginning. We've got
We do
so
have
much to
more stuff
kind
to
of
talk
share.
about.
Oh my gosh. And we have so many business things to share. So it's kind of a crazy time for us, and things are flowing. So as we kind of get more in and are able to release more details of all of our stuff, we'll let you all know. So, but thank you so much for joining us. This is Ballbuster signing out.
Kilted Dragon Chair. Love you all.